To Rajiv Gandhi IAS Academy Daily News Analysis of 20th December, and this is me Nayesh Nehal, and today I'll be analyzing newspaper of 20th December. And moving on with the first news is Thar Desert expanding fast with land degradation. A study has been conducted, and it has found that Thar Desert is expanding. And what's the news? The news is gradual destruction of Aravalli ranges is happening in the Thar Desert. Okay, that's why the desertification is expanding, and this is happening due to the changes in the rainfall pattern, spread of sand dunes, and unscientific plantation drives. This is the reason why degradation is happening so fast, and if it is not stopped, then sandstorm from the desert will travel as far as the NCR, that is National Capital Region, up to Delhi. So the Rajasthan sands can travel up to as far as the New Delhi. So because it's not happening because Aravalli Hills is in between. So Aravalli Hills act as a natural green wall between desert and the plains. And the study was undertaken as an assessment of environmental sensitive areas with a framework of UNCCD, that is United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. And India is a part of that. And in it, this study was conducted, and the loss of Aravallis is a very vital issue when it comes to environment part or the economical or the social aspect of the India also, because Aravalli is a main boundary which controls the sands from Rajasthan from entering into the North Indian plains. So the suspended particle from allied region are contributing to air pollution in NCR because they are crossing the Aravalli hills and coming on to right to New Delhi, and over exploitation of resources had led to reduction in vegetation cover in that area, and which is adjacent to Thar Desert, and this is contributing in expansion of four districts which are in Thar Desert, means four districts, the district close to Barmer, Jaisalmer, Bikaner, and Jodhpur. These are the four districts which come under Thar Desert. But now this Thar Desert is expanding. So more than these four districts, that is these four districts, more than these four districts are also coming under Thar Desert. So new plans should be evolved for conservation of Aravalli range to stop the desertification to enter towards eastern part of the state. So that eastern part means the close to UP, Uttar Pradesh, and New Delhi, and the NCR region in particular. So this was the news. So now we will cover the different aspect of this news. So see, there is this Thar Desert, and here Jaisalmer is there, Jodhpur is there. So as it is discussed, it is in the western part of the Rajasthan, and here this is Aravalli ranges. So we can see Aravalli ranges is up to here, and if this range is not there, then the Thar Desert sands will directly go into Delhi. So conservation of this research is this range is very much of importance to stop the desertification of this whole area. Otherwise it can move on up to Chambal area or the Jamuna, up to Jamuna river also, and once it enters the river, it can definitely alter the ecosystem of the whole river system also. And moving on with the news, see, as we have known that this Thar Desert comes under arid zone. So what are arid zone and what are different arid zone in India, we will also discuss that. So arid zone, as for example, definition, as per definition, arid zone is a region is arid when it is characterized by severe lack of available water to the extent of hindering or preventing of the growth and development of plant and animal, and also means the lack of water is up to such extent that it's impossible for the survival of plants and also animals. So this is known as arid region, and basically desert regions are known as arid region. Here is a map of India where I have shown different kind of climatic zones in India. So see, this is Thar Desert, and also this the part of Gujarat where it is the Kutch Desert. So these are the arid zone of India, and also some part of Leh. And if you are covering our current affairs daily news analysis, we have covered Leh and Ladakh in yesterday's portion also. So here the desertification is happening. These are permanent arid zone in India: Kutch, Thar Desert and Ladakh Desert, and Ladakh is also known as cold desert. So these are the permanent arid zone, and after that there is this humid zone, the upper Indo-Gangetic plain, and the whole Brahmaputra plain, and the whole of the Odisha, about 90% of Odisha, and the southern portion of Madhya Pradesh, and also this Western Ghat. So these are the humid zones of India. See, the whole Western Ghat is come under humid zone, and also there is this semi-arid temperate zone where there is not much of vegetation is there, but still some vegetation can be found. So it's basically covers the central of India, means it covers Delhi and a major part of Uttar Pradesh and a few part of Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, and also Rajasthan also. So these are semi-arid temperate zone, and after this semi-arid temperate zone, see, there is this Tropic of Cancer crossing through. So after this come semi-arid tropic zone. So these have the same characteristic of semi-arid temperate zone, but there, it came under the tropical area. So this became semi-arid tropic zone. So these are the thing about arid zone. So what is UNCCD? As I have discussed in this news, that UNCCD is there, United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, conducted this study. So what is this? We have to know. So it was established in 1994, and is this the sole legally binding international agreement linking environment and development to sustainable land management? How land could be managed so that the environment could be developed, and also it is the only convention stemming from a direct recommendation of the Rio Conference Agenda 21. So we all know that COP26 happened recently. So similarly, that COP21 was the major agenda behind this UNCCD. Okay, and also it to help publicize the convention, 2006 was declared as the International Year of Desert and Desertification. So in 2006 this happened, and also the main focus area is the convention addresses specifically arid, semi-arid, and dry subhumid areas known as the dry lands, where some of the most vulnerable ecosystem and people can be found. Because see, these area have little vegetation, so these are very sensitive zones. So a special focus should be given on this area also. And also the aim is this, it's a 197 parties aim, 197 countries have signed this, and through partnership to implement the convention, achieve the SDG, that is sustainable development goal. And the end goal is to protect land from overuse and drought, so it can be continue to provide food, water, and energy. These are the basic source which is necessary for sustainment of life. And the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change in India is the nodal ministry for this convention. So in every country there is some ministry which is the nodal ministry of that convention, and in India the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is the nodal ministry for this convention. And so moving on, what are the different issue with India and desertification? So desertification and land degradation are the major threat to agriculture productivity. Means as the desert will expand, the agriculture productivity of that land will go down as desert is rising. So it's a major threat to that. And India also hosted the 14th session of Conference of Party 14 of United Nations desertification in September 2019. And India is striving towards achieving national commitment on land degradation. And what is the national commitment? 26 million hectare of degraded land by 2030, restoration of this much land by 2030. So this is a very huge amount. So India is committed to for the restoration of 26 million hectare of land by 2030. And India has been at the forefront of bringing the issue of land degradation to the core relevant international alliance, for example to this conference of parties. And at different alliances, India is successfully bringing the issue of land degradation, because as we have seen that third desert desertification is there, and also that Leh Ladakh desertification is there. So India, and also in some parts of some part of urban cities where there is so much of population and so much of anthropogenic activities are there. So desertification is still a issue, whether it's in arid zone or in semi-arid zone, whatever the zone is there. But due to different kind of human activities, desertification became a issue in every kind of zone. And also India has adopted a collective approach for making progress towards achieving the national commitment, that is national commitment of 26 million hectare. So India is working on that. And so moving on, this was the thing about India and desertification. The issue came because of third desert is expanding, and here we have shown how Aravali is protecting Delhi and northern of India from third desert. And also we have shown what are arid zone and what are different zones in India. Arid zone is there, humid zone is there, semi-arid and semi-arid temperate and semi-arid tropic zone is there. And we have shown about what is UNCCD, and also we have shown how desertification in impacting India and what are the commitment of India towards removing desertification. So moving on, with the next news, the next news is that in the winter session there is a priority for bill on voter ID and Aadhaar linkage. And so, what is the news? So, the Election Laws Amendment Bill 2021, which seeks to link electoral rolls to Aadhaar, has been listed for introduction in Lok Sabha. So, this bill has been listed for introduction, and we all know before passing a bill, introduction session is being happened. And if you guys are interested, I will definitely urge you all to look onto the Lakshmikant parliament section, where there is this how bill is passed is addressed in a very efficient manner. You can see onto that, and not just stick to some videos or because as because reading cannot like alternate anything. You have to read from Lakshmikant until and unless you want to excel. So please read how a bill is passed in Lakshmi in our parliament. So first step is that prior in some cases we need to take in most of the cases we need to take prior approval from president or the speaker, and after that an introduction is being done, and after introduction a debate happened, and after that a voting happened. So these are the different steps for passing of a bill. It's beautifully addressed in Lakshmikant. I urge you all to read on from that. So moving on with the news, so priority has been given to this bill over seven other bills, means this bill will be in prior to other bills. And this is done for the purpose of authentication of entries in electoral law, and to identify registration of name of same person in the electoral law of more than one constituency or more than once in same constituency. Because what happened during registration, that suppose a person named N, it's also enrolled in like Bihar, it's also enrolled in like he was working in suppose in Delhi, so it's his Aadhaar card is from Delhi and also enrolled there in local elections. So this kind of forgery should be removed if Aadhaar linkage is done with voter ID. And the amendment makes it clear that no application for the inclusion of name in electoral law shall be denied, and no entries in the electoral law shall be decided for the inability of an individual to furnish Aadhaar. Means if a person is not producing its Aadhaar, so his name won't be removed from the electoral roll, and if a person is producing Aadhaar, his name won't be added. Means it's just for a security purpose and just for accountability of the citizen that this thing is done. And based on Aadhaar, the name in the voting list should not be altered. So this is the thing which they have mentioned. And people who cannot furnish the Aadhaar will be allowed to present other documents, for example driving license or other documents they can produce to establish their identity. And various section of Representation of People Act 1950 and 1951 will be amended. So the whole democracy of India, the whole voting pattern of the India, and the how a politician or how a political party can conduct during election is whole decided by this Representation of People Act 1950 and 1951. And there are now the best thing about this amendment is that now the parliament is planning to bring four qualifying dates. For example, previously it's only one qualifying date, January 1, because if suppose if your name is not in the electoral list, then again on the January 1st of the next year your name will come if you are correcting it now. So government is planning to remove that process, and now government is planning to enter four different dates, that in a year, your electoral roll will be refreshed from in four different instants. And also the name in the electoral roll, instead of wife, it will be a spouse. The name will be changed to from wife to a spouse. So it will also bring gender neutrality to the whole democratic system of India. So this will be a very beneficial case if that happens. And also we have to know about something about representation of people act, some background. So article 324 to 329 of part 15th of Indian constitution provide for country's electoral system. So from that, the representation of people act has been derived, and this act make provision for seat allocation, voters qualification, delimitation, and Indian president can alter the constitution after consultation with delimitation committee. That same came under the delimitation. And also preparation of electoral law. So the representation of people act basically work on these five major areas. And there are four schedule in that. So first schedule work with the allocation of seat, and second schedule total number of seats in the legislative assembly, and the third schedule work on the allocation of seat in legislative council. That is, we different MLC is there. In India there are five states which they have MLC, like Bihar, MP, and Maharashtra, UP, and one more state is there. Yes, Karnataka is there. I suppose these are the five states. So kindly Google on, and please give me the answer in the comment section, that what are the five states where there is this legislative council also. And the fourth schedule work with the local authorities for the purpose of election to legislative council. So these are the four schedule in the representation of people act 1950. So moving on with this act, so what is the significance of the act? This act bring direct democracy to public, means the participatory democracy is increased. And also this work towards the equal representation of the people, because it ensures that equality in process is maintained during election. And also federal characteristic of India is maintained through this act, because it gives a due representation to each state in parliament, so through which the federalism of the India is maintained. And also it decriminalize Indian politics, because due to this act, many many politicians which were of criminal characters has been removed from the democratic process of India. So this kind of decriminalize Indian politics. And also it increase accountability and transparency, because there is someone to control the whole election process. So there is a law to control the whole election process, so this increase the accountability also. And also this ensure that a clean election is happening. And also it work on the electoral bonds part also, and eligible political funding is maintained. It also ensured that. So like 2 years from now, electoral bonds were of a big issue, because government made some amendments in the electoral bond process. So I will definitely sorry, I will definitely urge you all to go through that electoral bonds, how electoral bonds are bought by political parties, because it will help in enriching your answer when it comes to men's answer writing. And also moving on to the third news, that is excess rain affects bird migration to Karnataka. So what is happening is heavy rain across Karnataka during October and November has affected the winter migration of the bird, which otherwise used to flock in large numbers and roast in water bodies of the state. So this year the rainfall in the Maharashtra in Karnataka, sorry, is the highest in last 50 years, and help in filling up the reservoirs and water bodies. So those birds which are not found of so much water are not coming to Karnataka, because of the reservoirs are filled with water. So those that climate has been changed of that area, so migratory birds are still not coming to that area. So groups have scattered to different places in search of a more suitable habitat, mainly marshy lands, and hence the bird count has been low. And the winter migration normally commences in October, November, and it commences in October and peaks during December, January season. So this is some simple common sense issue, but suppose if a question is asked in prelims that winter migration in India happens in, so this could come handy. And these birds which used to come to India tends to have a stopover in wetlands around Vijaypura and the backwaters of Ghat Prabha before heading towards southern parts of Karnataka. So these districts are on the northern part of Karnataka. So while moving from different birds, like some birds see here that Eurasian region birds are also coming from this, and some birds used to cross over Himalayas, so to come to Karnataka. So like bar-headed geese which flies across Himalayas. So these birds are not coming to Karnataka right now, and a majority of winter migratory birds are waders and prefer to shallow and stagnant water. So shallow and stagnant water are not there because the lakes are full with complete water. So shallow water is not there, and the shallow water vegetation helps them to draw insect and facilitate larva formation. So these are the reason the migratory birds are not coming to Karnataka this year. As of now, they are not coming. If the water level comes down, they might come. So these kind of things can help in broadening our perspective in our mains answer writing, and also when it comes to applying trick question in prelims. If we are knowing these kind of things, it will be a help. It will definitely help us, because here, for example, bar-headed geese is there. So suppose a question is asked that which migratory bird cross the Himalaya to enter the southern portion of India. So if we are knowing that these kind of things, then it will definitely help us. So moving on, and also these animals names are also useful: teals, pin-headed ducks, guardiani coots, sandpipers, and common pockets. They are definitely of use when it comes to prelims examination, because they might twist around facts and ask question. So moving on with the news, what are migrating birds? So bird migration is their regular seasonal movement. Birds fly hundreds and thousands of kilometers to find the best habitat for feeding, breeding, and raising their young one. So basically, the migration happen of the due to the young one, and these three things: feeding, breeding, and raising the young ones. And migrating birds come to India from about 29 countries between September and October during winter migration. And for example, Pallikarani in Chennai attracts many flamingos, ducks, and waders. So, however, India is witnessing a decrease in number of migratory birds. So, these are the things about migratory birds. And what are threats to migratory birds in India? The first threat is there is a loss of biodiversity in India, and also water resources declining. Illegal killing is happening of the migratory birds, so they are not coming, and stopover habitat loss. So, as I have discussed, that this Karnataka is working as a stopover. Stopover means suppose they are sorry, yeah, stopover means suppose from Himalayas, this is Himalaya, suppose from Himalayas they are going to Sri Lanka, suppose. So and but in crossing through Sri Lanka, they cannot just go directly here. So they will take a stop at, suppose this is our Karnataka. So they will take a stop here in Karnataka, then they will move up to Sri Lanka. So these points are known as stopover points. So stopover habitat are losing, and also there is this collision such as power lines, windmills, and oil rigs are in growth. The development is happening, so they might collide with there. And also we are using farmers are using pesticides in large amount, so poisoning is also happening to them. And also this one factor, that is over illumination or increasing illumination is happening, and the artificial light at night affect the migratory birds and confusing them, that there is this cone cell which perceive the light, and there is this rod cell which perceive the color in human eye. So the birds have a large amount of cone cell and a less amount of rod cell. So if cone cells are large, they are getting more light into their eyes, so they are getting confused if the illumination is too much. So their cone cell is recepting more eyes, more lights, so they are getting confused that it might be a daytime, and they have to stop like that. So we have to these kind of facts like cone cell, rod cell are very general facts and come handy in prelims especially. And also the eighth case is that the encroachment is happening and human interface is happening to these birds, and that's the reason that they are in threat. So, what are the importance of migratory birds? Migratory birds plays a critical role in balancing the ecosystem and helpful in pollinating plants, dispersing seeds, or also act as pest control agent and consuming insect and small mammals. And absence of these birds can result in disasters like locust attack, because suppose a migratory bird of Iraq, suppose is there. This is in yeah, this is complete Indian Ocean. Suppose a migratory bird of Iraq is there, and it comes into India daily. I am sorry, means once in a year it comes to India, and suppose it can eat locust, but the bird in India cannot eat locust. Their food is not locust, so it will be problem for them. And for India also. So, but these birds can eat locust, so it can definitely help in reducing locust attack, which come from Ethiopian side. Previously, it came from Ethiopian side. So, whatever the case may be, it can help in attacking foreign agents, which cannot be attacked by Indian birds. So, and also duck helps in transportation of fish in their guts to other water bodies, and birds droppings are rich source of nitrogen and organic fertilizer. So they are also a kind of carrier of different kind of resources, because suppose a bird is taking a pollen grain of Afghanistan, and it comes across Delhi and it's dropping here, so the diversity of that land will increase. So these are the importance of migratory birds. So moving on, what are the measures required to address the issue? So we have to make some long term monitoring program, and also educate people, and also fishing operations should be minimized, and we also create bird friendly landscaping, and also single use plastic should be banned, because they can go into water bodies and dump the whole system, and hence the quality of water bodies are decreasing. So hence the migrative birds are not coming to those water bodies. All these things are connected to each other, and when we are preparing for UPSC, we have to make sure that we can make a connected approach of everything. And also strict law should be enforced, and modern technologies like drones should be used to track poachers. And also we have to minimize light illumination and promote awareness. See, whenever how to deal with the measures required, we have to see what are the problems. These are the problems, and what I have done is simply said how these problems can be removed. So if you are writing answer of the mains, and suppose you are discussing the problem, we have to make ensure that we are also giving how that problem should be resolved, because in future those going to be IS or IPS, they would be problem solver. So when a problem is accounted in an question, the solution should also be given, and it will definitely enhance our answer. And so also moving on, there is this portion data comes under the wrap of privacy, and the Ministry of Child Welfare and Women and Child Welfare is saying that they cannot just release the data, because minority data are also there, and minor data are also there. With children below the age of 18, data are also there, so they cannot simply release this. And this tracker is one of the important pillars of Poshan Abhiyan, and helps government in tracking all the Anganwadi workers also, and about 12.3 lakh Anganwadi workers can be helped in tracking, can be tracked through this app. And governments made a cost 1053 crore of rupees to develop this data. And also a limited data has been given, for example, like district level data has been given, and for like vaccination data is given, because Anganwadi workers were also helping in vaccination program. And also like after vaccination, there is this attendance given, that how Anganwadi workers having were attending their center. And also there is this details of the home ration and hot cooked meals which are delivered by Anganwadi workers, because in lockdown the children were unable to attend the school, and also at Anganwadi center, so home cooked food were provided to them through Anganwadi workers at their home. So home cooked food data is also there, and also ration delivery data is also there. Ration delivery data is also there. These data have been released, but no information on the data on the nutrition status. So nutrition status data is not nutrition status data is not released by the government, because it is saying that this might hinder the privacy of those children, and as they are minors, so their consequences is not been taken, and so this can generate a privacy issue with them. So government is saying that's why this nutrition data is not released, and all these other data has been released by, yeah, like ration delivery data by Anganwadi workers, their vaccination drive process, and also attendance of those Anganwadi 12.3 lakhs Anganwadi workers have been released, and about 1053 crore were spent for preparation of this tracker, and a real time tracking system is there. So whenever the daily development is there, whatever the daily development is there, it can be tracked through this website, that is poshantracker.in. The website is there, and you can go on to that website and can track the different kind of activities, poshan abhiyan activities. So what are these poshan abhiyan? So it is an umbrella scheme covering the integrated child development service, Anganwadi service, Poshan Abhiyan, scheme for adolescent girl, national creche scheme. So all these scheme are combined into one, that is Poshan Abhiyan, and it was announced by 2021 by merging supplementary nutrition program and Poshan Abhiyan. So now supplementary nutrition program was also merged with Poshan Abhiyan in the budget session of 2021-2022, and it was launched to strengthen nutritional content and delivery outreach and outcome, with renewed focus on developing particles with nurture health, wellness, and immunity to disease and malnutrition. So these were the major objective of the Poshan Abhiyan. And see, in this Poshan Abhiyan, there is this Poshan Ma, or what is Ma? This is simply month in Hindi. Month is known as Ma. So month of September is celebrated as Poshan Ma since 2018 to improve nutrition outcome for children, adults and girls, pregnant women, and lactating mothers. So we can see that this whole Poshan Abhiyan is concentrated to girls, and children's, and also to the mothers of those children. So these are the three basic thing which this Poshan Abhiyan is covering. And also it includes a month-long activities focused on these things: antennal care, optimal breastfeeding, anemia, growth monitoring, girls education, right age of marriage. So these are, and also right age of marriage is also in very much in news, because from 18 to 21 it has been raised from like 2 days before it has been raised. So this kind of thing can be handy when it comes to prelims, or even in mains we can give case study of Poshan Abhiyan. So moving on, the activities focus on social and behavioral changes, communication, and are based on Jan Andolan guidelines. And it is the strategic use of communication approach to promote changes, knowledge, attitude, norms, how these norms, people norms are changing, how people attitude are changing with implementation of this program. So in economics, when if you are preparing for economics, there is this nudge theory, which is very much of news in current economics thing, because it gives the, if it focus on changing the attitude of people and their beliefs and behavior based on government incentives. So this nudge theory, we can use this nudge theory, cite this example of nudge theory in our main answer writing also. So moving on, there is this Poshan Vatika also been discussed in this Poshan Abhiyan, at ensure supply of nutrition through homegrown vegetables and fruit, and also plantation drive is done in Poshan Vatika for where the space is available with Anganwadi and Gram Panchayat. And also this Poshan Abhiyan, the history of Poshan Abhiyan goes back to 8th March 2018, when there was this International Women's Day, and on that the this Abhiyan was launched. And the Abhiyan main target was to reduce stunting and undernutrition and anemia, and also reduce low birth weight by 2%, 2%, 3%, 2% per annum respectively. Means every year they will reduce birth weight by this much. And it also targets to bring down stunting among children in the age of 0 to 6 years from 38.4% to 24.5% to by 22. So the stunting growth should be minimized from 38.4% to 25% by 22. So this was the major goal of Poshan Abhiyan in 2018. But now, as we can see, this has become an umbrella term for integrated child development scheme, Anganwadi service, and Poshan Abhiyan, and scheme for adolescent girl, and national crochet scheme. All these have been all these different kind of welfare scheme have came together under Poshan Abhiyan. So this has become a very broad topic, and we can definitely use it in social issues and whatever the in child welfare also we can use this. So there's this news from PIB that Nadi Utsav was been conducted across country on that day third. So Nadi Utsav is a pan-India celebration which is jointly organized by National Mission for Clean Ganga, Ministry of Jal Shakti, and Ministry of Culture and Ministry of Tourism. So these kind of facts became important when it comes to prelims exam. For example, they can simply say Nadi Utsav is related to first mission of national mission of clean Ganga, second Ministry of Jal Shakti, third Ministry of Culture, and Ministry of and fourth Ministry of Tourism. So and suppose there's this option of all of the above. So we if we are knowing these kind of things, we can definitely click on the all of the above option. And Nadi also are been organized to celebrate rivers such as major rivers of India, which are Brahmaputra, Indus, Narmada, Sabarmati, Mahanadi, Krishna. All the major rivers are there. So celebration has been organized under four chosen themes. The themes are cleanliness, patriotism, nature and ecology, devotion and spirituality. So these kind of facts became important as far as prelims is concerned. So first is cleanliness, patriotism, nature and ecology, devotion and spirituality. And celebration are under the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav campaign. We know that Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, that is 75th anniversary of India's independence is happening. 75th, this is the 75th year. So a whole program is happening by government, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So this also Nadi Utsav came under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav campaign. So these were all the news which were for today. So hope to see you tomorrow, and subscribe to our Telegram channel and our YouTube channel. Have a great day. Thank you.